Why is it the first thing that pops in their head when they're trying to get at a girl is to talk about sex?
Oh, okay. You know, okay, you want my answer to that?
Yeah.
Okay, so if there's a guy that's the first thing he's talking about sex, you gotta know the difference between a boy and a man. So if a boy was nothing, he doesn't know, he hasn't matured, he doesn't have the maturity, and he doesn't have a plan, he doesn't have a purpose, he doesn't have a goal for his life. If he has nothing going on for his life, the only thing he cares about is sex. If you're dealing with a man with the purpose, with the plan, he knows what he wants. That's not something that's not something that's a priority for us when it comes to relationships. We know that sex is gonna come if we with the woman we want. So that's what I would say to that question. Yeah, if the type of men or type of guys are if guys are only, that's the only thing they want from you is sex, either they're the wrong guy for you, they have the wrong intentions for you, but you're dealing with boys. You're dealing with boys because like I said, if a guy knows what he wants and when he has a future, he's building something, he wants more out of his woman beyond sex, if that makes sense. For me, like I'm trying to do something with my life. So I already know sex is gonna come, but sex is not even something that I think about when it comes to the woman that I want. I want a woman that comes on that can help me on my purpose, on my goals, and my dreams. We can build this life together, we can build this family together. And that's one thing I'm looking for, what value can she bring to me, and also what can I bring to her. Like sex is already given, because I know when we really love each other, like we're gonna have that, we're gonna be intimate and have kids one day. But if guys haven't got to that level, that mindset, then either they're just fucking around, they're immature and they have nothing going on with their life. But you will never meet a guy that really doing something with his life and all he worries about is sex. That's like, if guys got something going on with his life, we don't worry about sex. We want, okay, what else can she come in? How can she come into my life and help me? And also, how can I come into her life and I can help her and we can build something together? That's something that men think about. But little fuck boys and and boys out there, they just want to have sex. That's the way I see it. You're talking to little boys, and I say that with respect. I'm not saying that I'm better than them. It's just I know that it's all about priority. Like if guys got something going on with their life, they're looking for a woman that comes in and they can do something together with it. But like for me, when I meet a woman, like I don't worry about the sex because I know that's gonna come already. I'm looking for like, is she loyal? Is she kind? Is she nurturing? Can we communicate? Can we talk things out? Can we be able to discuss things? Are we able to challenge each other? Are we compatible? Can we agree to disagree? How does she respond to? Does she respond to the way if something bad happens, if I make a mistake, how does she respond? Although that's what I'm looking for. I'm not even thinking about sex because, like we just mentioned in the first question in the podcast, sex is not going to keep a man or a woman. We talked about that's the first thing. Like, sex is not going to keep me. Sex is not going to keep her. So like that's not. I don't worry about that. But I feel. But I do know that it takes a certain type of mindset to understand that. And I'm not going to lie. When I was younger, give it 100. That's all I thought about. I'm gonna keep it 100. That's all I thought about was sex. Like that's all I cared about. I didn't even think about the future. I didn't even think about what she had, or all I wanted was like what I wanted at that moment, that temporary pleasure. But as I got older, I realized, oh shoot, like sex is not gonna build my future. Sex is not gonna build my legacy. It's not gonna take care of my family. That's not what I'm focusing my energy on the wrong things. So when I go and date people, like I don't worry about that. That's gonna come. But I've just noticed that people that all think about sex, then I just noticed that there's either a level of maturity or there's something going on deep. There's a deeper issue going on, and that's why they all either they need validation, either they need that love from somebody they didn't get growing up as a kid, whatever it is. If somebody all they care about sex, then there's a deeper issue within that person. If all they care about sex, because a lot of the people I've met that all they worry about sex is because something something traumatic happened in their past that all they're worried about is sex beyond anything else. But that's my question. That's my answer to that. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree. When it comes to like the whole deeper meaning behind like somebody who's constantly like really craving for it, and that's like their number one priority or first bit of conversation. I agree that I have a friend, well, usually it's because like the women in his life were absent like growing up, and that became like the one thing he knew he can always get, you know. So
Yeah.
I might be thinking a little too deep into it than I thought, but I always figured that there was really no example of a woman around for him to know, you know, what to look for in a woman or something to hold on to be like, okay, I'm a young boy, I'm horny all the time, but you know, I'm gonna grow out with it. This dude is going on for years and years. That's when I was like, okay, I definitely agree it was a deeper meaning because he never, the first women in his life failed him.
Yeah.
So I agree with
every guy and girl I ever met with that all they cared about was sex. Every single one of them in my life had some traumatic issues in their past, and that's why they all had every single one, whether it's a girl or a guy. You know, like and most of a lot of the girls I met, all they care about sex. I realized later on in their childhood or something happened to them, and that's what they knew. Either they didn't have a dad, they didn't have that father figure, they would have this lack of attention or affection growing up as a child. Whatever it is, somebody touched them, whatever, you know, some sexual something going on with their past, and that's why because it's not even about the sex. It's just the craving that attachment.
Right.
It's not about the action itself. It's just they just need that attachment. That's one thing I've noticed. So it was cool when I was young.
Yeah, it's played out now.
It was young, but no. Now it's like that's not something I prioritize because like right now, like I'm thinking about the future of what I'm trying to do. So that's what I'm looking for. But I do notice either there's a pain, either there's something happened to him, a deeper issue, or just immaturity. Because
Can I add to that?
Go ahead.
It's either that or sometimes guys just like to be followers. So they like see older guys doing it, so they think it's cool to do it, you know?
Yeah.
But then at the same time, it's like when I hear a guy do that, I think of like, how would you feel if somebody did that to your sister? How would you feel if somebody did that to your daughter? You wouldn't appreciate it. So why would you do it to other females?
Yeah, that's why I mentioned that. That's the lack of immaturity, right? So we're just so immature that we just do it. We just follow the crowd, and we haven't developed our own sense of what we should do, what that's right. And yeah, like you're totally right with that. Like if that's why you see growing up as a child and all your friends are doing it, and that's the culture today. And also like it's 2021, everything is about sex. So nothing like nobody cares about relationships no more. People go into relationships for the purpose of having sex. People don't go into relationships no more for the purpose of long-term commitment or marriage. So growing up as a child, growing up, all my uncles, like that's all they talked about. Yeah, have sex. Like Kava is all we talked about. Yeah, have sex and all the like don't yes.
Cut it out.
And that's and that's but then I just as I grew older I realized like that's not what I should put in my energy into because I'm not building anything. Having sex, like I'm not doing anything with my life with that. That doesn't do anything to better me. So I had to go through that period and realizing that for myself. But you're absolutely right. There's the culture aspect, based on your environment, what you see. But eventually, like, I don't care. Like both women, you guys can know that. Eventually, I don't care how much sex you have. Eventually, there'll be a point when you realize it's not. That doesn't do anything for you. It doesn't build anything. Having like, the sex is nice, but what's good, what's great is like the intimacy you have with somebody, the connection you have with somebody, be able to talk to somebody, be able to communicate, share our deepest fears and flaws and insecurities with somebody, and they can tell us, hey, it's okay. Having that vulnerability with something, that's what brings people together, and that's what keeps people together. It's not the sex. It's nice. I mean, the sex is it's just for having kids. That's a beautiful thing, but to be loyal to somebody, it's beyond that sex,
Right.
So, but you don't understand that if nobody ever taught that. And of course, we're all Pacific Islanders on this podcast, so we never had those conversations of sex growing up. So we had to learn on our own. So we had to go figure it out on our own. But for me, when I have kids one day, I'm gonna discuss that with them. Hey, like this is what sex is, but this is the purpose of having sex. This is why you have sex with somebody, because sex is something that should be, for me personally, is something sacred that you should share with somebody long term, somebody special. It's a special gift that we can have, but that's just me. That's just the way I see it. So, but yeah, if that answers. Anybody any thoughts to that, Sila? Any thoughts to that? What she asked? What Sia asked? Why do guys? Why do you think guys just care about sex?
Yeah, I also think, because I also have a lot of guys who just hit me up for sex, but I also think that it's just because also like in like the older age groups, like not like in high school and stuff like that. I also think it's just because like they don't have like that respect for you, because I don't think that they're necessarily stupid that they don't know like, oh, this is how you talk to a woman and stuff like that. But I noticed the guys that hit me up for that is because they don't respect me like as a woman and stuff like that. Because like you see a guy hit you up for sex, but then you see him not treat another girl like that. And so I think also when guys hit you up first and they hit you up and then all you're talking about is sex, I think that that is most likely the initial reason that they even hit you up in the first place. Because if he wanted to just talk to you about things that actually matter, then he would, but he's not. So it's that I think that that's when guys hit you up and you guys are talking about sex all the time, that's the reason why they hit you up. Because if they wanted to not do that, then they wouldn't.
Yeah,
at least that's what I noticed for myself.
I just noticed within our culture, because we never talk about it, but there's no guidance to the young men of how to be men, if that makes sense. So I didn't learn how to be a man. I had to learn that on my own, just like failure, just life falling apart, shit just not happening for me, and then I really had to man up in myself to rebuild myself as a man to grow. But I wish I had that growing up from the uncles, from how I grew up. But a lot of young Polynesian guys, we learn how to be men through social media and through just watching the other men in our lives. But the men in our lives may not be the most positive role models that we should look up to. So there's not really people out there teaching young boys, how to be a real man. And then that's just something that we have to grow out of. And then for a lot of guys, it might take a couple of years. Some guys take their whole life. Some guys never grow out of it. Shit. some guys are the same their whole life. Shoot, I got uncles and grandpas too living that lifestyle.
Oh fuck no.
I got uncles like just still thinking that way. Hey, and trying to get the next girl. Like I'm like, damn, uncle, holy shit. Like 50, 60.
Right. Especially the way they be talking like the doa, like by Kava, it's like the older they get.
Yeah, these are old dudes.
They go
old
straight
men
back
trying to
to
holler
how
at
they
that
were when
door.
was 14. That should be gross. I'm like,
bro, if you go to Kava, like these are OGs, like my grandpa's age, and they're all trying to like smash the door.